You have a goal in mind. You have something that you wish to achieve. But the path is never easy, is never straight. If you reach that path without any obstacles, you're going to immediately get another goal to reach. Because that all that it means is that you're capable of something bigger, something better than that. So the most beautiful gifts lie at the end of a path that are difficult. And it is in moments of difficulty that you actually grow. Taking the shortest route definitely gets you there, but you don't grow as a person. This is what is called Leela. You wonder why you have to go through so much of mental tension and problems before you reach your destiny. And you wonder what you're learning from it. But there is a moment when everything seems to be really dark, and in that moment you surrender to the divine. You say, oh my God, I can't do anymore. I've done all that is humanly possible. And you surrender to the divine. And almost by magic, it all opens up. So what happens is that when things get really tough, the tendency is to quit. Put your hands up and say, I can't do this anymore. This is too much for me. And on the one hand, I'm telling you, life has to be effortless. If there's too much effort, you have to think, is this the correct path for me? And on the other hand, I'm telling you that life is full of troubles. And it is these troubles that allow growth. So how do you know? How do you know whether this path that you have chosen, this goal that you have chosen, is the correct one? Is this the one we should leave? Is this the one you should take? And I remember I was interviewing a girl who was, for my book, and she said she was getting divorced, and I knew her husband extremely well. Both extremely nice people. And you wonder what it is that's making them separate. They got children. I said, do you really have to do this? And she says, Guruji told me that if the water is above your head, you're in your boat, and I may have given you this analogy before. You're rowing a boat and the boat has sprung a leak, and you bail out the water, and you keep bailing out the water, but if the water has entered to such an extent that you're sinking and the water is up to your ear, it is time to look for another boat. There are certain situations where you look for another boat. In those situations, you have a choice, right? So it's easy to pick another alternative. I have a choice. I can either stay with this person or I can go with another person. When you're studying for an exam, for a 10th grade final exam, you do have choices still, right? You can still not sit for the exam. That is a choice. But the real choice open to you is that you have to sit for this exam, and not only sit for this exam, you have to do well in this exam, right? So basically you have no choice, which means that this is a situation you realized that my goal is to do well in this exam. I cannot bail out. I cannot bail out. It is my responsibility to put in whatever it takes and not worry about the result. The results will be what they may be. But you have to push through. Very often, the bluest skies come after a storm. We go and take shelter every time there is a terrible storm out there. But if you embrace the storm, if you weather the storm, suddenly the skies open up for you. And I always make a mention of this video that I watched on YouTube. A young boy explaining why we stop so early, we give up so early. He took a bottle of colored water, and I've tried it at home and it works. So you color it with a few drops of food coloring, and he had a bottle of black water, and he says, this is our situation. We put limitations on ourselves, and that's the cap. He says you open the bottle and you release the limitations. He places it underwater and he says, let the divine flow through you. So release the stress from your mind and just relax and allow the divine to flow through you. And after about 10 minutes, the water becomes light gray. And he says, this is the time we give up. But this is the time we say, okay, we've tried, it's not going to work. But 5 minutes more, you stay in faith, knowing that it's all going to be good. It's all going to be fine. And the water clears up. It really does. You will never go through a difficult path without coming out well in the end. It never happens that you're worse off than before. Never. There are 3 ingredients to stay present. Faith, courage, gratitude. Faith, courage, gratitude. You open up that space for the divine and put these 3 ingredients in. You stay in faith, have the courage of your convictions that you can see this through, and be grateful for the opportunity to do it. And that'll push you through. Any moment when it's tough and you feel like quitting, these are the 3 words that you have to say to yourself. I need faith that it'll be fine. I need courage so that I can fight my way through, and I need gratitude. Because really, I'm very fortunate to be where I am. One of the reasons that people don't persevere is that they don't like responsibility. Any action you take is coupled with responsibility. You decide to run a meditation group. You have to make sure that people know what they're doing. You have to make sure that you give your best. You have to make sure of so many things. You are actually morally responsible for the entire group. If you're not ready for it, you can't run something like that. You just can't. You have a job at an office, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're offered a promotion. And with that promotion comes responsibility. So you can sit back and say that, I don't want to persevere my career. I want to stop short. I'm quite okay here. I'm in my comfort zone. Everything works fine. I know what to do. I can go home at 5 o'clock. Every additional step you take requires taking responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your life. And the best choices are made when you make those choices intuitively. The choices that come from your source are the best choices, which is why we meditate. We meditate so that we center ourselves and we stop the constant talk, the constant talk. Why do you need perseverance? You need perseverance because somewhere along the line you told yourself, it's too much work, it's too difficult. And then the subconscious keeps throwing up thoughts, this is too much for you. You better stop. It's not good for you. You could be relaxing. Try something else. And this chatter is going on in your head all the time. It's too much. You're gonna fail. It's never gonna happen. Try something else. It's for someone else. You give up. You're better off just relaxing. See how much TV you could watch, how much stuff you could do, how many friends you could hang out with. You can be having a cool time, but you're sitting and bothering with all this. And that's what you have to push through. And that's when you make the choice. Do I stay the course? Do I stay the course and finish it? Or do I take another path? There was a boy that I saw on Ellen's show called Ezra. I don't know if you all saw that video. It's on Ellen Tube. A young boy who was born with a defect. He had only one stump on one leg and he had a full other leg and he had one thumb. So they had to cut something and make it into two, right? At the age of 9, he plays basketball, he plays baseball, track and field with that prosthetic leg. And he said something that made me just sit up. He's got such a zest for life, you know. People that have got everything going for them don't reach those heights. But this boy has got, no leg. It's got 2 fingers on one hand. He's broken 9 national records. He's on, all the magazines. He's won so many awards. He plays all kinds of events. He says one time he was playing basketball and he hit a foul and the game ended. And he got so mad with himself. He went to the room and started crying. And his coach came to him and says, get back to the court. Shoot another hoop. Finish well. And he says, that stuck in his head. That stuck in his head. Finish well. So when he's running, he says, I must finish well. When he's studying, he says, I must finish well. Finish well. Finish well. You've got to see it all the way through to the end. Even if you've done that last hoop after, it's not the winning shot. It doesn't matter. You go through with it. And he says, people have so many shortcomings. Some people have it in their bodies, like I do. You can see mine. Some people have it in their minds. Some people have something else. But all I want to say is that you can do great things. You can do whatever you want to do. And he's got this smile on his face. So what I want to tell you is that the race is not to win. The race is to finish. And you can only finish well if you persevere. So persevere, you must.